So I've got my gelatin Joker Smile appliances ready to apply. Now the first thing I want to do is just clean them, because they come out of mold full of Vaseline. So I want to get any excess Vaseline off, because that's going to prevent them sticking very well. So I just brush with a soft brush and alcohol front and back and remove any Vaseline, leave them really clean. Now gelatin doesn't like moisture, so we need to seal the back of the pieces. Also, because we're going to use an acrylic adhesive which has moisture in to glue with, so we need to put a plastic seal over the back, and I'm using Kryolan fixing spray. Other sealers will work, but Kryolan fixing spray, and I've sprayed that on the back. I'll let that dry, and that creates a waterproof seal to the back of the piece. Now I offer the piece up where I want to apply it, and I'm going to use a little talcum powder here on a brush, and that pat it around the piece, and that's going to leave a little outline. That's going to allow me to see where to put my adhesive. So I'm using acrylic adhesive. This one is Pro Key. Similar ones would be Prosaid or Better Bond. And you can see it goes on, and it's kind of white as it goes on. I'm using a Q-tip, and I'm going within that powdered outline. And I put the adhesive on the face, and I'm going to let that dry. I'm also going to put adhesive on the back of the appliance and let that dry as well. And it's important that you let it dry, because then you get a really fantastic bond. And you can see there, I just lightly put it in place and it grabbed really fast. Now, in a way, it grabbed too fast because I got it slightly in the wrong place. But if I just use a bit of isopropyl alcohol on a brush and brush underneath, it kind of deactivates the glue and allowed the piece to lift and reposition. Now, the bottom edge, I didn't take my adhesive down far enough, so I just run a little bit more under there with a Q-tip, but I leave it. I don't glue it straight away. I let it dry. Now here I've got isopropyl alcohol on a brush, and you can see the edge looks kind of white and dry. But if I take the alcohol and I brush it under the edge and then brush it over the edge, you can see it glues down, and suddenly the edges go translucent, and you get a fantastic, all those edges really glue down beautifully. So I'm going to do the same on the other side. I did my powder outline. I put my adhesive down on the face and on the back of the piece, let it dry, then put the piece in place. And here I'm going with the IPA, and I'm just running it under the edge. That's actually a little bit of glue there. I'd missed a bit of glue. And then the IPA on a brush to smooth down those edges. Now the IPA doesn't dissolve the edge, doesn't blend the edge. So for that I need witch hazel. So this is distilled witch hazel on a Q-tip, and I'm just carefully blending away at the edge with the witch hazel. And you literally dissolves the gelatin and gets a beautiful blend off into the skin. Now once the witch hazel is dried, I'm going to seal over the top of the piece as well. And I'll just use the Kryolan fixing spray again. I don't spray on the face. I just spray into a cup and I just brush it on. I let that dry. And here, if there are any little edges, I'm just using a bit more of the acrylic adhesive, and I'm just placing that, using that to blend wherever we need a little edge kind of disguised. Let that dry and then use more fixing spray over the top. Now color-wise, you can use alcohol activated makeup, but I just wanted to show that you can actually use grease paints. There's not a lot of color going on here, and grease paints are normally quite opaque, but if you just thin them with a bit of alcohol, and if you're just dotting it on, you can see all this is taking is a little bit of red and a tiny bit of highlight color. And because the gelatin is already a kind of flesh tone already, then it takes very little color to make it blend. You can see it's blended really well. That color matches the face really well and blends off beautifully. So a little bit of red, a little bit of highlight color, and there we go. We've got a terrific Joker smile. So we're going to apply the latex piece using a similar technique. I'm going to use the Pro Key again, the acrylic adhesives again. But of course this is a latex appliance. So the first thing is the latex doesn't have any problems with moisture and with the adhesive. So I'm going to use similar steps. I powder around the piece, but I don't have to seal the back of the latex. The latex is absolutely fine, isn't going to get affected by the moisture in the acrylic adhesive. So I can use the same process. I put the acrylic adhesive on the face, I let it dry, I put the acrylic adhesive on the back of the piece. I didn't actually put adhesive right on the lips, because obviously I didn't want to actually glue the lips together. That would be cause a bit of discomfort. So I've just put it around the mouth, and again on the back of the piece I've done it around and left the middle clear of adhesive. So it's the same again. You let the two sides dry, press it in place. If there's any edges not quite down, I've gone under with a small brush and a bit of adhesive just to pop those down. And then again with the IPA, and the IPA goes around and that kind of sinks in under the edge, reactivates the glue, makes it sticky, and it allows me to kind of press down any thin edges really tightly into the glue and get a terrific blend off. So once the IPA is evaporated, I'm going around with a bit more of the Pro Key adhesive here and using it to blend off. Now the latex, you can't actually dissolve the latex, unlike the gelatin. So if there is any little edges showing, we need to disguise those. And I'm just using more of the acrylic adhesive. I'm just using a brush to kind of lay it in. As it thickens and dries, I can kind of carve in lines and create lumps and bumps and fill in the edge to help blend it into the skin. Now, once the acrylic adhesive is dry, I'm going to brush over everything with the fixing spray again. And that's just to seal up the latex. The latex will kind of absorb some of the oils in the grease paint. And might change color a little bit, so I just use the fixing spray to seal the latex, and then I'm going to apply grease paint over the piece and onto the skin to blend them together, blend the colors together, and add a lot of detail in around the mouth. So if you've created a look like this before using direct applied latex and tissue and cotton and scar wax, I'm hoping you'll watch this and kind of see that maybe it's time to make that step up into sculpted and molded and cast prosthetic pieces, because they offer so many advantages. They're much quicker to apply the finished thing, you can control the results much better, and it's a great stepping stone into the world of prosthetic makeup effects.